This section, at least in the layers panel that you have, has a series of pictures, and I sent this one to you so you have it just as a reference for illustrating these pieces. And the first part is giving you a rectangle section up at the top so that it allows you with the measurement to actually make this rectangle. So if you click on the rectangle tool and just draw a shape up on the options panel up at the top, you have a width and a height with a link, a chain link that you can either constrain or keep them separate. And go ahead and enter in the numerical numbers for the 6.5 and 3.5 inches, and that makes that initial shape that's here. So that gives you a little bit of an easier way to work. And then once that's on the panel here, it lets you create this shape. So again, using the rectangle tool just to kind of approximate that shape, and this one here as well. Just kind of placing that. And if these aren't centered, you can shift key them and just use the button up at the top. That'll align them together. And then click on the Pathfinder and go ahead and unionize those together. Take the direct selection tool and you can select these points. So I'm just shift keying to select them, or you can make a marquee selection around them. That'll curve in these two pieces. So that'll give you that rounder section. Same with this outside piece, just grab this corner to curve that. So now you have two selected pieces in order to get the center line for that section. You can group that together. So that gives you that initial package, which will be the die cut for that piece that's on the illustration. So let's see if I have this. So here's this initial selection, kind of these two parts that you can use for the section outside. This is just a shape illustrated on the extra piece. So just kind of clicking the eyedropper, you can kind of see that particular shape. So you have a couple pieces drawn with the pen tool that allow this. So I'm going to copy that, paste this circular part there, shift key the rest of these together, and use the shape builder tool to build these out. So just by option and shifting these, it's going to take this out. These are all becoming shapes. All the rest is taken out. So for example, just using this graphic, I'll make that piece. Let's see if we can bring this together here. So that becomes that shape. And just using the eyedropper on these colors. That part up. So there's the overall back of this package. Just kind of shift key this together, group it, and temporarily hide this selection. And the rest of it, just kind of briefly cover it. This type is just a Helvetica font. So just changing that to white. This is just a color bar, a rectangular shape that has the rainbow color brought through the gradient. So when you drag through this part, you can categorize this section. Anytime you click on it, it'll give you that piece. And the gradient tool you can adjust if you need to, bringing those colors across. And it'll cover right there. Okay. This part just showing the premiere. And again, with the character, if I can find the type in here, it's going to give you the tracking, which is the space between all of the letters. Kerning is just inside a couple of them. So just 200 is what you have as a base, but 600 is the part you type in. And then coming down to this section, again, just double click on this, kind of have this isolated. Prismacolor, the kerning or the tracking is tighter on this section. This is just all using Helvetica. You don't necessarily need to go to a higher piece, but this is the part that's grouped together, and it'll get you tightly into that section. And that's just a stroke onto this piece that has the profile changed. The registration mark is just using Option R, and that'll give you that graphic. Okay. This one down here using the same, just copying some, and this has the Artcom using an envelope. So here's the lettering. So just to show you, this is going under Object, Envelope to Stored, and this time if you make it with a mesh, it'll show you the amounts that you can adjust with, and this is the one to work with. Just making it one-on-one there, and taking the direct selection tool onto this, and that'll give you the part for transferring that section. If you take a look at Option Make with Warp, this gives you all the different parameters. You can try to find one that's close in here, but it's easier to actually go in and do it with the warp and the mesh. So here's the mesh. Here's the preview so you can see it. And that'll give you that section. So you can see that you can adjust this to the top and the bottom to change that section. Once this was changed for that piece, this part, just double click because it is grouped together in the isolation. If you go into the appearance, you get to see in the content itself for that section that this is kind of broken apart. So once it was changed, it was taken out of that realm so that you can do a fill and a stroke. So let's backtrack a little bit. For example, this one, if you give it a fill, here it's in this isolation part, so just go to the appearance, and here's the contents for it, opacity section for that. So here's the character, so the stroke, just pick the thickness of it. For the fill, I already picked a color for the eraser, and what you want to do is actually drag the fill on top of the stroke inside here, and that'll give it a little bit more of a flexible change on it here. So here's so when you get to this part, you'll see that the fill and the stroke, if you can flip them, build that part up. So here's the characters. And it's going to let me do this here. Switch that across. Come back to that. And then the last one kind of just has a line with the type and everything placed in there, any of the graphics that are down below. And then it's just a matter of taking these and duplicating them, make them into symbols. So here's the 3 symbols for it. And here's the flat piece. So again, these are the parts that are into the 3-dimensional section. When you click on the appearance, this is the opacity part. So you're just, again, mapping the art. And this will give you the selection using the arrows across the piece. Shade it a little bit slower, and then you can place these into this flat version. Okay? show all of them, this is what you end up having. Take a look at your layers. This is a grouped element that you see. Send that behind it. Fill that with white temporarily. And these are the parts. So again, these are just the sections. Just kind of lay them right over here. Shift these guys. Setting this up. So all these graphics. Group that. All of these guys. So this back one, you can just hide that selection and just position these where they belong. Object show all. Go to the layers. Take that guy. Object hide selection. That finished piece. You could actually place this so that it has a drop shadow to add that section. I have that graphic with that in the initial illustration.